let's find out how people perceive you at work. And this is all about what you project at work, because this is not necessarily who you are at the core, but this is the part of you that you choose every day to project at a work setting. Now, also, in case that you work from home, you still have meetings, you still have peers that you work with, you still attend conferences. If you are a solopreneur, or you have like your marketing agency and it's employee of one, that it still applies, because we are going to talk about how people that you work with perceive you. So in this case will be how your suppliers perceive you, how your clients perceive you, how your coworkers perceive you. And like always, you know that you have to choose between more than one pile. So if you look down, you see 3 different groups. There's group number 1, group number 2, and group number 3. Like always, you know that I will place a picture of the 3 piles so you can take the time to choose. I did purposely select the same lapis azul stone for all of them, because I just want to make sure that you're not guiding yourself with your eyes, with your mind, by choosing your favorite color. Now, as always, I have suggested in every single one of my videos that you should be picking your pile intuitively. And when I say intuitively, is the best thing to do is to pick with your body. And by that I mean you can pass your finger over the screen, your phone screen, your laptop, wherever you're watching me from. And then whenever you feel a tingle on your finger, that's your higher self telling you that here in this specific pile, there is a message for you. Because if you let your mind choose, you'll choose your favorite color, you'll choose your favorite number. You will be like, oh, well, I had been seeing number 1 a lot, so I guess I'm meant to be choosing pile number 1. And that is the mind interpreting the signs, and it's not always right. And sometimes it will pick something it wants to listen to, but not what you're actually meant or applies to you. And so this is why choose with your body, because your body has a direct way of communicating with your higher self. And this is also why there are people yet that you cannot stand for them to touch you, because even if your mind cannot comprehend what's going on, your higher self, your spirit knows exactly, like the story that you two share, let's say. So your body knows more. And yeah, that said, I also realize that 95% of you have not yet subscribed, and this is a time where I ask you to subscribe, to give it a like, to leave a comment. All of those really simple and quick gestures are so meaningful and do inspire me to keep publishing every week a new pick a card on this YouTube channel. So thank you for all your support, and I'll see you in a couple seconds. Hi there, group number 1, and welcome to your reading. Are you ready to find out how people perceive you at work? So remember, this is your coworkers, this could be your superiors, this could be your clients, your providers. So this applies even if you work from home, or even if you are a sole entrepreneur and you don't deal with other people necessarily on a daily basis, but you do deal with clients, you do deal with providers. You also, maybe let's say you have a social media account or social media accounts because of what you do. So how do people perceive you? And this will be dependent also on what are you choosing every day to show them, right? Because sometimes we have one personality at home and then one personality at work. So this is how people perceive you. And remember that this is not objective. This is very subjective to the people you share your space with. So the same qualities for other people could be a strength, while for the people you surround yourself with may be a reason to be jealous of. Let's start with your reading, and just remember, not take anything personal. These are just perceptions. Okay, group number 1. Let's look at your card. So you got the 8th house. Which is the house of, yes, intimacy. This house belongs to the energy of Scorpio and the planet of Pluto. So the 8th house is like the dark room. Okay, it's a it's a room full of mystery, mystic elements, and it's a very sensual house as well. So this is telling me, because what I was asking to begin with to your angels was, what is one of the biggest strengths that people see in you? What is one of the things that they admire the most when it comes to work, okay? So you are someone who has a very mysterious demeanor. You have like a poker face pretty much. So, and I just feel like it gives me this very like strong Scorpio vibe. And something about Scorpios is that you don't know if they like you or they don't, because they have this poker face and they have this very like mysterious personality all the time. And so sometimes, because they don't give much away, then people around them feel like, oh, I want to be your friend. And I'm a Scorpio, and I have been told this from people like, oh, I thought that you didn't like me, and that made me want to be your friend even more. And I'm like, like, I thought you were a really cool person from the beginning. But it's just, the thing is that the 8th house is a very more like laid back, mysterious, sober personality, sober look, poker face, more mystic and mysterious. Okay, so even if you're very like realistic, people think that you're this more mystical, spiritual, mysterious person. And that's the demeanor that you bring. And I think that that poker face is perfect if you deal with, if you have to deal in negotiation or contracts. It's just that that poker face is like, it's unbeatable when it comes to that. And so, yeah, another thing as well, before I forget, that they're saying is that you're really good at reading people. And that's something of Scorpios, that's something of the 8th house. And Pluto is people that have a lot of that energy, either a lot of planets on the 8th house, or a lot of Scorpio energy, or a lot of like Pluto energy. And by a lot of Pluto means like Pluto, it's conjoined with another really powerful planet like the sun and the moon. And so when that's the case, that like sixth sense that people have of like being able to tell whether someone is telling the truth or they're lying, that's something that those people will have. And that's something that people think that you have, whether you have it or not. People are scared of lying to you because they feel like you will figure the lie pretty quick. They feel like you see into their souls as well. I really think that you have a very deep way of like glancing at people, like very, yeah, it's just you have like this deep look. Also, another thing with this 8th house energy, and also it's one of those things that kind of are your strengths at work, in the work environment, with your clients, with the providers as well. It's that you have there's something about you that is very sensual, okay? Not sexy, not beauty, it's sensual. And because the 8th house, it's also the house of sex and intimacy. And so there's something sensual about you, and this is something that you could use at work, because I feel like you seduce people. And I also think that you're the type of person that will go into like a conference room and like try to get a deal, and everyone will be like, there's no way that you can get that deal, because we're not even giving the best like price, maybe the best value, but not the best cost, and maybe, or timeline is not until like it's a longer timeline, so I don't think they're gonna go for us. I don't think they're going to hire us, but they send you to the conference room, and it's not about who has the best offer. It's like you know how to seduce your clients. Like I said, you're really good at reading people, and so you know exactly when you're getting like a positive response, and you then continue to like pull that thread that you just found. And I just think that you're very quick at reading people's needs, also strengths and weaknesses, and like the darkness as well. You can see people's darkness because you're really self-aware of your own darkness as well. Now, Scorpio energy in general, in men also, it's a very ambitious energy. And I'm saying in men because I have seen it mainly in men. It becomes like them being very ambitious. In women, I'm a Scorpio woman. I'm a very, very Scorpio person. And in all the other Scorpio women I have met, it's like we're ambitious of being authentic, and we want to like, we don't want anyone else to tell us what to do, and we don't want to have like a boss, but we're not ambitious of like a lot of money and wealth, because when you have a lot of that energy, regardless, you know that that money will come to you regardless, like inheritance or third party money. And so there is this sense of power. If you have like strong masculine energy, I feel like you're someone who's very ambitious, and people can tell right away. What else? You're very intense. You have like your eye contact is very intense. And I just think that also because you're capable of telling what people need at that moment, I just think that people gravitate around you, whether you like it or not, because some of you could be social, some of you could be introverted, but it's just like you have a way of connecting with people regardless, and you make them feel like they matter to you. Now, more on like the shadow side, some of you, the way you are, you come forward a bit like stalkerish, like a stalker. This is just take it as it is, and because of that very intense energy, just telling you. And another thing is, if you guys do handle other people's money, I think that is like how you're going to also become very successful. People that are accountant, that you handle other people's crypto or investments, you will be making a lot of money. Or like if you handle other people's assets, like maybe you are a realtor, what else that I can think of? But it's just like when you handle third party investments or money, you're really good. You're really, really good, and the eighth house represents that, like being able to make a lot of money through other people's money. Like you're really smart on where to invest, when to take out the money. And it's like that sixth sense that people can't necessarily explain how is that you have this. So yeah, and this is a really great strength to have. Now let's see what else your angels are sharing with me. Are your angels sharing with me? I recorded in Spanish early today, and whenever I do that switch, it's just like there's a lot of mumbling in the beginning. Alrighty, yeah, okay. So with this Four of Swords, let me show it to you. It's really like you have this very chill personality. I feel like some of you, even your aesthetic is very like a vampire, or like a very sober personality. You're very laid back. I got to say that you're very, very laid back. Okay, there's this thing. They think that all your clients, providers, or coworkers have seen you handling chaos. It's like even when everyone is like running around and like they're so like stressed or anxious, you don't show it. You may feel like it, but you don't show it, so people assume that you don't feel anxious or nervous. And probably you have heard of this in the past, like, let's say that you're new at your job, and people just find out that you're actually new. They thought that maybe they never saw you, but they didn't know that you were new, because you just act like a boss. Like you act very confident, and you don't show weakness. And this is the thing of like Scorpio energy is we don't like people seeing our weakness. We could be stressing out, we could be so like self-aware of like how icky we feel, or like we could be very insecure in that moment for whatever reason, but we're not going to show it. Like we could be like have a huge stain somewhere, and we're just gonna present like always, because we don't like, it's not that we don't feel like it, but it's just we don't like to show weakness to people. We don't like people knowing our weak points. And I think that that's something that it's very clear in your reading as well. You don't show much, and I think you do that on purpose, and people, they believe it. Now, another thing as well, there are so many cards. Another thing in here, there's this 9 of Wands for you. And there's also the Knight of Swords. Okay, so you're someone who is very, well, ambitious. I think that I did mention that already. But you are very consistent. And I do think that this 9 of Wands is making me think of this saying. There's this quote that I published weeks ago in my other channel, and it was something about where there's a tree to plant it, where there's a project to start, where there's something, where there's like cleaning to do, clean it, because waiting for other people doing it won't be the answer. And I just feel like that's how you show up to this world, is like you're not waiting for other people to do things. You don't need help or seeing other people helping you. You can do it on your own, and if people help, great, but if they don't, you're not going to be complaining, and you're gonna be like just doing it for yourself and by yourself. And this is interesting because what they're showing me is completely the opposite of like, when someone is not helping and then you call on them, and you also tell on them to other people, to supervisor. So I do think that you have been very understanding with other people in the past, and that's why they feel that way. Like he doesn't or she doesn't tell on me, and that's really nice. Like he will also not give up on a project, and he's someone who, if he or she really believes in that project, he or she will finish it until the end, and there's very little that can stop you from achieving what you have set your mind to. I also feel like you are a very hard worker as well, but you do know when to prioritize to like rest. Another thing too is that now I'm getting more the vibe that you are quite introverted. Like you could be someone who connects deeply with people, who, like I said, really get to read them. And as I'm saying this card comes out with the Ace of Cups, because I was really getting this feeling that you're good at connecting with others. You're good at connecting with other people and knowing exactly what's going on, if they're feeling sad. You're like the type of person that will ask about someone's birthday, like someone's kid. And it's like, I do feel like people will just open to you. They will open up to you. But in reality, you are actually introverted, so you keep to yourself. Maybe you don't share so much about your own life, but you're willing to listen about other people's life as well. I do feel like there's this thing about the Knight of Swords in this specific card. I don't know if you get to, like, you have noticed, but the horse, like, doesn't have, like, his eyes, they're, like, closed, or they're, like, not there. And I just feel like, how could you be galloping and not be looking ahead? And I just think is, once more, like, some people think that you're like this, have this, like, psychic side, or, like, I do think that this is the pile that if you're spiritual, or like you have that mystic, magical, psychic side, people do see it right away. So maybe also, like, you could be an accountant and people think that you have like something about you. Maybe you have shared stories about things that have happened to you, and so that's why, like, they have this like perception of you that you're like psychic, or you're like, you have this sixth sense of yours And some of you that picked this pile could actually be within the spirituality realm. You could be a tarot reader. You could be someone who is every day on a daily basis using your gifts in your career. I just think that also there's so much care and love that comes from you, but you definitely like to keep to yourself. And another thing, once more, you have this Two of Swords. So definitely you are very intuitive. You could be very psychic as well. And people have noticed that. You could have been very public about it, or maybe not, but people have heard stories about you. So also, I feel like no one can push you to make a decision, and I think that that's also this whole thing of the Two of Swords. People could try to rush you to make a decision, but it's very clear that you're very intuitive and you follow your intuition and you only act whenever you're ready, because this Two of Swords is like you take your sweet time and no one, absolutely no one, can rush you. And this could also apply to, yes, decision making, but also your creative process. So also another thing they just said and mentioned is that you're really good at setting boundaries with people, mainly for those that are dealing with clients. Okay, let me see if there's anything that people think that you should like work on, or something that should be done better. Yeah. And those that have been with me for some time, you know that I don't pick the cards, but I do like them to be flying one by one. So when there's like 4 cards coming out like this one, this time, then I just put them back, okay? And I keep shuffling. Now, also, if you have made it to this point of the reading, this is definitely the time for you to subscribe, to give it a like, to comment, because I realize that 95% of you guys actually haven't subscribed. And so this is the time. Subscribe, give it a like and comment. And yeah, just keep enjoying every new pick a card that I publish every week. And also, you already know that I have my website, tarotbyfernanda.com. If at any point you do want to take a step further into your career, your profession, you want to find out more about your purpose, then you can book a private reading with me. Alrighty, things that you can work. You actually get the 8 of coins. Okay, so, I get it. You're someone that doesn't give up, and you will be giving your best, and you, when you're passionate, you just give your best. But this is a very different energy. With this 8 of coins is people think that you could get a bit more of an education. So the 8 of coins is when you make an investment, whether it's resources like money, energy, time, into getting better at whatever you do, or educate yourself, okay? Because of this 8th house, I already tell something I've noticed a lot about people that have a lot of planets on the 8th house, or a lot of Scorpio energy, is that people really care about you, because for even people to have this tendency of wanting to leave inheritance, I feel like when it comes to a job, it's like someone who cares about you will let you know when he or she will step down from his position, because he wants to let you know that he wants you to be the one replacing him or her, even like a year, 2 years, 3 years in advance. I really feel like people care about you and they're watching for you, like they're looking for your best interest at all times. And so I do think that you're very like loved by everyone, but when it comes to actually like knowledge, I think that people think that you could make an effort to even be better at it, at whatever you do. It is clear you're gonna go to places because you have this thing of being able to read people. But when it comes to actually know what you are doing, they're saying you could take extra courses, you could read books, you could get better at your craft. So they think that that is one thing that you could get better at if you were to invest in education or updating your education. Sometimes you go to business school, but then you go to business school, and 20 years later, there are new things, there are new ways of doing things. Maybe in 20 years from now, PowerPoint and Excel is not what we will be using. Canva was not even a thing, I'll say 5 years ago. Seriously, it was not really a thing. And now Canva, it's a thing that I use all the time. And yeah, it's just like you have to adjust with the times. You have to adjust because you need to get better at your craft if you want to be the best. And because I think you have the passion, but they think that you could benefit a lot from studying more, dedicating more time, getting better. It's like, one thing I noticed when I was a dancer is like I love dancing and I definitely had the talent for it, and I had this like very creative side of mine. But at the same time, and then other people were not half as good. Seriously, like when they had to improv, like improvisation, they couldn't. But I will say this. It was clear that they were going to get further than I in the dancing industry because they had a lot of discipline, and they will always like even go to the gym to get like their body more strong, and had nothing to do with dance, but they would invest time and energy into practicing more. So maybe they were not as talented, they're not as creative or passionate, but they had so much more structure, and they will invest in like even more studying more the art of dancing, have like take extra classes even after like or 8 hours of full of on dancing. So practice. This is what they're telling you. You have the passion and the talent, but you are lacking that dedication of practicing even more. And I just think that that definitely does make a difference. Okay, the Hierophant. Once more, this is like you should be studying more. You should be like doing a bit more of research into like your craft. You should be looking for a mentor. You should be receiving help from others. And a lot of people think that you'll really benefit from looking for like having a mentor in your life and in your career. And I just think that this could open doors to you. Other people think so as well, that some of you are not necessarily traditional, or not necessarily like you are very modern. You are completely not religious. And yeah, and some people think that you need God in your life. Some people think that you could, like, you're a great person, they really like you, and they're like, oh, if this person were to be more conservative, traditional, it could also be the way that you dress, right? Because with the 8th house, Scorpio energy, it's a very sensual energy. It's very sexy as well, but I will say it's more sensual than anything. And so maybe that's how you dress, and then some people feel like you should be dressing a bit more conservative as well. So this is so far everything that is coming through group number 1. You're only seeing me over here because my camera fell asleep. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your presence and your support. And I will see you. And I'll see you on the next pick a card. Bye. Hi there, group number 2, and welcome to your reading. Let's find out how people perceive you in a work setting, in a professional environment. And this is perfect for everyone, because some of you do work at an office and around other people. Some of you work from home but do attend conferences, you do attend networking events, you do have clients, you deal with like meetings. Some of you have your own business, but at the same time you do have either social media accounts, you do have clients and suppliers as well. So you deal with other people, and sometimes there are people that are very sweet in real life, but then when it comes to work they put like their poker face on, let's say. So we project a certain energy and personality when it comes to a professional environment. So let's find out, what are you projecting, how people are perceiving you, and how people feel about you, right? everyone who works with you. So let's start with your reading, but do remember not to take things personal. This is for entertainment purposes. A lot of things will make a lot of sense and some of things will be quite surprising, but remember, this is not objective. This is subjective to people's personalities, because they perceive you. People's perception of you, it's also based on the type of people you work with. Okay, so let's look at your card group number 2. And you got the card of Saturn, which is wisdom. I'll show it over here. Now, Saturn does belong to the energy of Capricorn. Does also represent house 10, which is the house of success, of like career success. And also, Capricorn actually represents the father figure. So this is why Saturn is such a serious energy, because it's the dad, right? So probably a lot of you are perceived as the mom or the dad of your workplace. So because you're someone who is very responsible, just like in general, you're someone who has this really strong sense of responsibility. I do think you are someone who plans ahead of time, who has a lot of structure. You're like a pillar. I'm really picturing like that emperor energy, but not the young Aries energy, but more when you already like, you have become this powerful person that sees everything like sees everything as something, or every matter as something that is really important. I do think that you're very like into your job, or like you take everything very seriously, and that's something that you can feel right away, and people do see that about you. You're someone who's very practical. I mean, we're gonna look if you're someone who's creative, but just right now with this Capricorn energy, which is Earth energy, and Earth energy also represents Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. This just means that that is kind of the main thing that they see in you. So you could not be any of those zodiac signs, but they perceive you as if you were a Earth sign or a Capricorn. And that could also be because that's your ascendant, and that's also the side of you that you want to show to people. Like, I'm someone who's so responsible. If you ask me to do something, I'll do it. I will plan it. I will hand it to you on time, or even in advance. I really feel like you're someone very structured, even borderline stiff. Like some of you, I do think that people that work with you could describe you as very rigid, of like you play by the rules too much. I also think that you could be one of those people that implement the politics at work, or the rules at work. And so could be because it's part of your job, or you just do it because you actually enjoy doing that. Because Saturn and the father figure, it also does represent the power, or like the politics around everything, and the authority as well. So this is why when there's a lot of Saturn energy, depending of the placements, you could either really want to follow every single rule, or be really scared of authority. So it's one or the other, of course, or like run away from following the rules, because the whole Saturn energy, it's all about the rules to follow, the figure of authority. So I just think that this could arise a lot of feelings from people, because you're someone who follows the rules. You may sometimes ignore personal instances. So maybe someone has, like, a kid that was sick that day and they missed work. And so you don't take that so much into consideration, because for you was like, well, we already told you that you could not miss another day, and because you did, well, you're not giving me another choice. It's like, I just feel like sometimes you can be a bit impersonal, like you, like the opposite of personal. Impersonal, like you could be a bit distant, a bit cold. Yeah. But I definitely sense that people do see that you're giving a lot of responsibility, even more of like what you're supposed to have. And I do think that you're very eager to accept that responsibility. Yeah, I'm picturing you like those people as well that really care about their appearance, but not like looking good necessarily. It's not like that. It's about like if you work at a hotel. I mean, I in university I studied business and I did study about like hotel business, and people that work at the desk, at the front desk, they have to be very clean. They represent the hotel, right? So I feel like you will take that very seriously. It's not about whether I look pretty, do you look good? It's not about that. It's like, do you look professional? Is my tie like okay? Is my dress clean? And I just think that you also want to you show respect to others and you want people to show respect to you. um, let's see what else. Interesting. You know what, I was feeling like maybe you were taking everything so seriously, but some of you do actually. Take this and this tree, I'm gonna put them back. Alrighty, so let me show you your cards. You got this Nine of Cups, this Knight of Cups. So this is the 9 and this is a Knight, right? The Magician and the Ace of Pentacles. Alrighty, so I definitely feel like well, okay, there's this side of you that it's like you look for your own benefit. And that's something that people can see. It's like you look for your own benefits. And I do think that sometimes also you take your credit, like all credit is to you. And this could mean that some people get at times mad because they will love you to mention them. Maybe you did all the work, but they were the initial idea behind the project or something like that. And I just think that you only look at you getting appraised. I also feel like things have to be done your way, or like, yeah, just your way. And yeah, it just feels like, remember, this is not my opinion. This is like people that work with you, sometimes they feel like you are not receptive to other ideas because you think that you know best. Now, another thing as well, I do think that people have noticed, mainly those that have like do share an office with others, it's like you love to indulge, and like you have probably made your desk like very personalized to your personality. And I just feel like it's like you are really comfortable wherever you work, your office, your desk, your cubicle. Like, I just think that you have completely personalized it, and it's like you're not going anywhere. You have made yourself at home. And I also feel like for some reason I'm feeling this like it being trophies as well. Like you winning them and winning them and winning them. Now, I do feel like with the Knight of Cups, you are pretty sweet. There's something about you that you are this sweet, thoughtful, romantic person at work. So, okay, there's a couple of things here. Some of you actually do. I think that you're pretty serious, but when it comes to getting things at work, you have like a work wife or a work husband. I do think that those are single people have realized that you do flirt with other people. Okay, like in case that you were wondering, like, do people realize that like I'm flirting with others? Yeah, they have noticed. I do think that for some of you, it's just that you're very caring with your coworkers. So there was this one time, it makes me think of this guy. I remember when I was working at Abercrombie and Fitch, because that was my first job. There was this guy that on Valentine's Day, he will just buy a bunch of flowers and he will give them to all the girls. And he wasn't like flirting, but it was more about like a nice touch of like, I'm a thoughtful man. And I just feel like whether you're a man or a woman, I just feel like you're someone who's thoughtful. Like on Valentine's Day, you'll bring like chocolate to everyone or a piece of like a Hershey kiss to everyone. If you're a man, you'll bring like a flower to every woman, married or single. Like it really is more like that touch. But I'm not getting so much like, some of you, yes, you're flirting with someone very specific, but I don't feel it like meaningless flirting or you getting your way or having your way with seducing people. That is not it, because you are very like introverted in that way. You're very serious, you want respect and you expect respect from others, so you set boundaries. But I do think that, I don't know if this is something that is natural to you, or is this more of an act that you put for work specifically. Then there's also the, oh, okay, get it. Yeah, because I was not getting the feeling of you being able to connect genuinely with people. And I'm not saying that you're lying. It's just that, like I said, we all put like a different facade for work sometimes. I mean, that's not something I suggest, because you're meant to be yourself all around, because being a different person at work versus home versus with your friends, you'll realize that it gets tiring because you're wearing a mask. So that's my 2 cents. But what I'm getting from you, it's like people that you need, like your secretary, your assistant. I don't know if we still say secretary, but your assistant, okay? Or people that you need on your side. You're always so thoughtful with them. You're like, you know how to handle those people. And I just think that you butter them up. Like you butter your suppliers up. Like if you work at a restaurant, you know exactly how to butter them up without like crossing a line as well. Because when it comes to the restaurant industry, a lot of the suppliers are not allowed to accept gifts from you, like meat suppliers, like veggie suppliers, because it's unethical. And so but I feel like you know how to butter them up. Sometimes in the hotel industry, you're not allowed to give anything that goes past like $50 or like there's a limit, right? But so you just know how to butter them up somehow. Now with the Magician and the Ace of Pentacles, I just feel like you definitely want to go far. I mean, who doesn't? But not everyone. I don't care. So I just feel like you do want to go far, and I feel like you want to be recognized for all your endeavors. And the thing though also that I think that a lot of people that you work with, they feel like you want to be good at everything. But I'm sensing that like, as in like, come on dude, like just take a industry or just pick one thing, because it's like you want to just be the person to go for everything. I'm just sensing that. Like I feel like if you work at a work office setting, a lot of people may dislike that you take your job so seriously, and they may dislike that you go above and beyond. But seriously, that's just jealousy. I wouldn't like, I hope that you're aware of that. Like taking your job seriously or doing the best that you can because that's what you feel called to do. So, you shouldn't worry about what people think. But yeah, I also feel like the thing with Saturn is, like I said, because you're so serious about endorsing authority and rules, sometimes people could feel like you're telling on them. Let's see if there's anything else they feel like you should like work on. And I do think you're very committed. With the Ace of Coins, you're someone who is committed to your project, and you are like ready to make a long-term commitment. And sometimes there's people that promises things like, no worries, I'll get this done, or they're like, they bring up an idea like, what will be really good, if we were to summarize all our sales in last year, and then we look for the whatever thing, and we create it in an Excel sheet, let's say. But you're not actually intending to do any of that work, or you are just talking for the sake of like, you're just speaking for the sake of speaking. But for you, it's like, people know that when you mention something, it's also because you're willing to do the work, and you're willing to, like, if you open a door, you're gonna go through it. So if you promise that you're gonna look into something, you actually do it. And that's something that people definitely like about you, because I think that there's a lot of people at work that don't follow through. And with this Ace of Coins as well, I just feel like you're someone who follows through. Like, you send an email, and if they don't reply, you follow through. And it's like, sometimes people don't reply, not because they don't want to, but they completely forget about it. They completely like have other stuff doing. And they really appreciate you always kind of following through and being committed to any projects that you take on. Now, one thing that people wish, or it's not that they wish, but they think if they could give you their 2 cents about like what is something that you should work on, it's the Six of Wands. And on the bottom of the deck, you could see the Fool. And this is all about like, they wish you could show a bit more passion. And maybe it's like, one thing is working hard, and something else is being passionate about what you do, and that's very different. And this is the thing. I remember I had this friend, she's a Taurus. I mean, she is alive and she's still my best friend, but she's a Taurus, and that's an earth sign, just like Capricorn. And the thing is, she's so professional, and she will like work above and beyond, but she was not passionate about what she was doing, but she always wanted to be the best. And she was more in love with like going up levels, and like going to places, and having this beautiful office, and like, working downtown Toronto, and like, more than like, but she didn't care if it was like at this bank, at this other bank, or at like a real estate office. Like, she really didn't care, because it was never about passion. And what people here, they're telling you, because it's reminding me of this, it's like, they wish you were more passionate. You pick something that you were passionate about, because you're already such a hard worker, and you have like really strong values and a moral compass, and you follow rules, and you follow through every single project and every single commitment that you make, and you have such a strong sense of responsibility. So now imagine putting that dedication to something that you're actually passionate of, and that's what people think of you. They're like, if he or she were to pick something that they truly enjoy, maybe also they will like loosen up, and they wouldn't worry so much about everything. And with the Fool on the bottom as well, it's about like being like more like the Fool, like not care so much about things, and like just go with the flow, and like not plan so much ahead of time. Because sometimes when we plan too ahead of time, or we so structure, we don't allow life to surprise us, and also we're not allowing creativity to surprise us with great ideas. And so this is the thing as well. It reminds me of that friend, because when I first met her, she was like that. She like knew at what age she wanted to be married, to have kids. And guess what? Scorpio came into her life, and I'm very different when it comes to that. And so I feel like a lot of things happened like in our lives, and then now she's someone who has her own business. She opened her own business. She's so passionate about her business, and she's doing so great. And it's just like, I remember telling her those things that people are like feeling for you, of like, hey, you already, we can tell you're gonna go to places, but imagine if you were to pick something that you're genuinely passionate about. So I do feel like that's how people feel about you as well, and they just think that you're someone who, whatever you put your mind onto, you're gonna achieve it. So might as well do something that you really care about and that you'll be happy. And yeah, so, and people that will appreciate you for real. So group number 2, I really hope that this reading was meaningful. Remember to subscribe, to give it a like, because a lot of you are actually not subscribed yet. Also, if you ever want a private tarot reading, you can just go to tarotbyfernanda.com and book a career or life path reading, okay? See you on my next pick a card. Welcome to your reading, group number 3. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of Tarot by Fernanda. And let's start with your reading. Let's find out how people perceive you in a professional setting, in a work environment. And this, like I explained already, this is perfect whether you work at an office, whether you work from home, maybe you are an entrepreneur and you have no boss or you don't work with anyone, but you do deal with suppliers, you do deal with clients, you do other people, we do deal with coworkers, we could be dealing with partners, and also sometimes it's like, even if we don't deal with supplier clients, we have social media accounts or professional social media accounts, and it's like, what is what you have projected so far? And so what is the perception people have built about you? So let's start with your reading and let's look at your card. Okay. First of all, the main energy that your angels are showing is the one of Uranus. Now, this energy, this one belongs to Aquarius, and this one also belongs to house number 11. It's really interesting because each group so far has been houses that belong to the second half of the chart. So people that know about astrology, you know that from house 1 to 6, they are 6 areas of our lives and 6 energies that are more basic energies. And then once that you go to Libra, which is house 7, then those are more like develop, or like more you develop self-awareness, okay? They're more complex. And so for all 3 groups, the energies or the houses that were coming out are more complex energies. So it's like 7 and up, right? And for you with the house 11 is the house that actually cares about others. It's a house that belongs to the humanitarian organizations. This house, like Aquarius energy, which is Uranus energy, does also belong to the clients. So like a lot of you, I feel like you have your own business and you deal with a lot of clients, because a lot of us, well, not me, but when I used to work full-time at an office, sometimes I wouldn't actually directly deal with the clients. When I used to work at a marketing firm, I wasn't dealing with like, I don't think I'm even allowed to talk about clients, but I wasn't dealing with them directly. I was dealing with like the people I was hiring to create the campaigns and everything. But it's like I didn't have to deal with them, with the people that were paying directly. But for you guys, it's like you actually do deal with the clients, with your company's clients. Like you are the bridge between your company and the client. And the same thing for those that maybe you have your own marketing agency, you are a solopreneur, and you deal directly with clients on a day-to-day basis, and there's like no one in between you and the person. So this could also be applying to people that, like I said, have their own business. Like actually, yes, in my case, that I directly deal with my clients whenever someone books a tarot reading. There's no like an in-between person in here. Now also, this energy, Aquarius energy, is such a smart energy, and it's someone who is very futuristic. It's like you can think of things even before they exist. What I mean is like before anyone else can imagine them. So you're like ahead of your time, and there's so many geniuses in this world that did not get the fame or the acknowledgement in their time until much later. And usually when that happens, it's because they were ahead of their time. And you can there's a lot of people that have created art, people that were like singers, and that we now really like their songs or their music or their art or their written work, but we could not appreciate them back then. So that's also that type of energy. Like, you think way ahead of your time, and it's also like, very strong Aquarius energy is also why like Wi-Fi happened, the internet happened. I mean, cell phones and everything, computers. It's like, who came up with those ideas? So anything that is like completely new and is technological, it is attributed to that Aquarius energy. And that is what people kind of admire most about you. Now, you're very original, you're really unique, and I think that you actually like people to see you that way. Another thing, though, with Aquarius and the 11th house, although you could be really great with clients, you could also be very fast paced. The way you think, the way you communicate. So, probably, if you haven't done so yet, having communication, like, develop your communication skills and like presentation skills as well, could be really ideal for you, because you're someone who thinks really fast, and sometimes people cannot follow you through because of how fast you talk and how fast you jump from one topic to another before realizing whether people are actually following you or not, because not everyone is as fast as you. I feel like this energy are like little genius, and that's who you are. I also feel like with Uranus energy, it tells me that you do stand out in your work environment. So it could be that also like your physique or your ethnicity could be completely like different from that setting. So let's say that you're in Mexico and everyone is Mexican, but you are from, I don't know, you are from France, right? So it's like your ethnicity does kind of, you're very unique, and it could be unique for different reasons, right? You're someone who brings revolution and into any industry, and I do think that people know that if they give you, let's say, a project, like a lead on a project, or more responsibility, or like specific position, they know that the second that you have the power, you will disrupt the way that things were done. And so this is important for you to understand that that's how people perceive you, because this could explain why maybe you haven't been allowed to move up, let's say, because they know, or like if you are part of a family business and you're like, why do you guys don't trust me? And it's because they know that the second that you are in power, you're just gonna change completely the way that things are done. And sometimes people are not ready for that. It could be really good and you can make them a lot of more money and make things so more efficient, but you need to understand that a lot of people are really scared of change. And so if you're someone who just are so ready to push change in your work environment, and sometimes people are not so ready. So I also feel like if you're that type of person, I can see so many like instances of like, let's say that you work at a very like professional setting, but you're like, hey, let's be over with this whole like tie and like being so formal. How about we implement casual Fridays? And like maybe a lot of people actually do like to go in very professional, so they will feel defensive towards you, because it's like, why do you want us to do that? Or like you're like, hey, how about we start implementing ChatGPT, or what if we start implementing softwares? And people feel so defensive because they're like, I'm too old to learn a new thing, or like they feel just offensive. There's going to be people that can see you for the genius that you are, but other people, I can already tell, they're going to be scared of like how innovative and futuristic you are. And I just think that also people think that technology and everything really is something that it's really easy for you. So if they have questions about PowerPoints, Excel, any new softwares, any like anything Adobe related, anything that maybe for them it sounds like a bit complicated, they will ask you. It just seems like you're very technological as well, and those things are really easy for you. What else? There was something else. Okay, if it's important, they will tell me again. Let's see what else they say about you or they think about you. 1 second, 2 cards. I just want one more for now. So right now you can see the Ace of Coins. I am really sensing like for you, everything is a business opportunity. You also have the Page of Cups. Oh, okay, yeah, for those that have clients, like you deal with clients, these are too many cards, I'm not gonna take them. If you deal with clients, maybe you're asking them to invest or to do something that's really out of their comfort zone. And so that's why they feel like this. It's like they know you're gonna make them more money, but it's just so out of their comfort zone. And it just makes me think of like when I was more like in the marketing industry, I had clients that were so open to try different things and even like to show their face. And you had those clients that they wanted to stick to being very traditional and conservative on their social media accounts. But that also meant the growth was going to be much slower. And I remember there was this one time, this client that was like, I posted something and he was like, oh no, I don't. And it was just like, it's something funny, but it was nothing, like it was funny and professional and it had to do with his business. And he was like, no, I'm really not liking this post. And seriously, as he sent me that email, that reel started like going viral. And because the thing is, this person was older, but also was more like old fashioned. And so someone like me was too modern for him when it came to how to handle business and his social media accounts. And so I feel like that you could be perceived a little bit like that to like your clients perceive you like that. Even if you can get them more money, but they don't feel ready for like the change. So this is good feedback because then you can adjust the way that you communicate things, because now you realize what people like, how they register your personality and what are their fears and what are like what they see as strengths for you. Okay, so I show you this two already. Then you got the 10 of Wands and also the 2 of Wands. So you got a bit of like air energy, a bit of everything. I think that you're that one pile that has a bit of everything: earth, air, fire, water. And you are someone who is a very hard worker. I do think that you can do the work that maybe, at other moments in life or in another time this could take 5 hours to do, but you get them in one. But because I feel like it's not because you're necessarily a hard worker. I'm not saying that you're not, but I think I'm getting more the feeling of, this thing of like they say, I hire someone who's lazy because I know that a lazy person will find out a way to be more efficient and to do it in less time. And and so I can't remember who says something along those lines of like, I rather hire someone who's lazy because I know they will find a way to do it faster with less effort. And so I feel like you're someone who has this more playful, laid back energy. And so when it comes to hard work, you're capable of doing by yourself and in less time, and you're very efficient. And I do think that you make other people not look bad, but like if they're not needed anymore. And I just feel like you're that type of person that you could, like, let's say your job is creating a website, but then you are creating someone's website and you're like, thank you for sending me your pictures, but you know what, I feel like we can take better pictures of you, or you even edit them better than the photographer. And then so then this people that hire you or people that you deal with, they realize that you kind of are a jack of all trades in a way, and that you're really smart with technology mainly. So sometimes they even send you like pictures of their kids and they're like, could you edit this for me? Like, I just see you being really resourceful, and that's how people view you, perceive you. And you may think that you're like, but I'm not better than other people, or I'm not even a genius when it comes to softwares. But people that are asking for your help, they perceive you that way. And trust me, my dad and my mom, they think I'm a goddess when it comes to laptops. And my mom sometimes passes me her phone and she's like, 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 can you fix it? And I'm like, I don't repair phones, but in a way, when I started looking on YouTube and I do all the research, I never knew how to unblock a phone, how to unlock a phone. And I was able to find out how, and I didn't know that everything is on YouTube pretty much. And I'm someone who's very curious with technology, but I don't like it. That's not my forte. But I realized that a lot of, my older friends as well, they come to me and they're like, how can you change this? How can you do this? I'm like, okay. And so I think that's how, like, people come to you because you just make things look very easy. And you have this quality of yours that you rather not make it look complicated. You make it look easy for people. Another thing as well, I think that you're always looking for the next idea. You're someone with this futuristic energy. I feel like you're always ready for the next thing. You're always like ready for the next project. And so your attention span is like not that long. So I feel like when you're passionate about a project, you give your all, but the second that you're bored, like, you're ready to move on to the next thing. And that's something that people have perceived about you. There's more of this young, playful energy when it comes to you. And you could be someone, older, but you have this very young and playful energy and trendy energy as well. I'll say that you're very trendy. So even if you're like, 70, 80, like, you're very up to date with everything of like this generation. I feel like I'm outdated at this point. I don't know any of the slangs or anything like that. So I used to be like one of those kids, even in high school. I was BRB. I didn't know that it was like be right back. I remember one time I was talking to a guy and I was like, best friend. I thought it was BF. So I said, oh yeah, my BF is waiting for me. And he was like, oh, you have a boyfriend? And I was like, no, my best friend. Like, actually, I have never been up to date with any of the slangs or any of those things of like texting. So from a very young age, I have felt very outdated. Alrighty. You're someone who enjoys luxury, who I just feel like aesthetics is very important for you. Like I said, you speak very, very, very fast. I do also think that people perceive you as highly superficial and materialistic. And remember, this is not me, I'm just a messenger. So people, for some reason, they perceive you as superficial, materialistic, you care too much about your looks, maybe also vain. Even if you're like, but even though I don't dress like that, like, whoa, I just think that people perceive you as someone who really cares about his looks or her looks. And with the Queen of Swords as well, I just think that people perceive you sometimes as judgmental and very like cutting towards others. Like, you don't let people in and you feel superior to them, like you feel more intelligent. And that's how people perceive you. Another thing is you lack communication skills, and not just of like how fast you speak, but how kind are you to others, because the only water element in here, which is like the kindness, which is the caring part, which is love, the only card or the only energy that comes out as that is the one that's more of a playful energy and doesn't take anything serious. So I feel like you don't take people's emotions so seriously, and I do feel like they perceive you as someone who could be mean at times, who could be really rude, and you're not self-aware of other people's reactions, or reactions from what you say or from what comes from your mouth. And I do also feel like people think that you don't filter what you say. Let's see if there's anything else. Like I said, my readings are very unfiltered. It is whatever comes out. You know that I'm not trying to like sugarcoat things or like butter you up. And if you have made it to this point of the reading, this is the time to subscribe, to give it a like, and to leave a comment. And I don't know if I already said this, or I already mentioned this. I do give private readings on my website. If you go to tarotbyfernanda.com, you can buy a private reading, and you can ask pretty much anything, but things that are about other people that has nothing to do with you. Like if you share a connection with this person, like an ex-partner, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, a dad that you may not be in contact with, but you share a connection, or you shared a connection at some point, that's a valid question. But when you're asking about someone of like what is he or she up to, that is information that ethically I will never be answering. But yeah. So that said, another card that does come out is the Six of Wands. And for some reason, like the Six of Wands, it's all about success. But what I was asking when I was like shuffling was like, what is something that people think that you should get better at? And the Six of Wands, like the shadow energy, or how I'm sensing it, it's more about like vanity or sharing your success. Like you lack of self-awareness, of teamwork, and like how other people's work actually benefited you. And so I just feel like some people feel like you lack of consideration towards others' work, and that you don't give enough credit to other people, and you're not the best at teamwork either. I feel like you just want to lead, and yeah, there's also a lot of vanity in here, and you looking down or judging others. So that's something that they feel like. And there was also this energy that I didn't really talk about, but I just think that you see everything as a business opportunity. And I just think that you're someone who's highly smart. Like you really are highly smart. You could be highly educated as well. You could be someone who's really humanitarian. But the thing with this, people that are highly humanitarian, and we can debate over this, they are doing something good and they're helping others. But also, if you carry that everywhere, that sense of like, I can be the one that can help you, you're not trusting others to help themselves. And this is the thing that in spirituality, and not spirituality, self-awareness, we need to be self-aware of this. And I had to be self-aware of this, of sometimes when we think we can help others, and we have so much activity on house 11 and this Aquarius energy, and this like we're such givers and we can help humanity, we develop a God complex. Not me, like people that have that type of charge, which is not my case. But sometimes we feel like we can experience this in other areas of our life, like helping our family members to be more self-aware, to be more spiritual. And the thing is, when we have this idea of being better of helping others, in a way, we are saying we are better, or we have better tools than others. And if we don't help others, they're incapable to ever help themselves or to do it by themselves. So there's also a silver lining in there, that I think that we need to be self-aware when we're crossing that line, and we are developing a God complex as well. And I just think that this is something you have to be self-aware. Now, that said, this was your reading. My other camera fell asleep, so I'm saying goodbye over here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you on the next speaker card.